Welcome back. In the last episode, we spoke about the concept of enterprise cyber risk management, ECRM, not being an IT problem. In fact, we discussed it in the context of enterprise cyber risk management really being about a business risk management issue involving, number one, saving your patients, number two, preserving your reputation, and number three, protecting your balance sheet. Some might argue that saving and protecting and preserving are all about playing defense. And I guess to a certain extent, risk management is about playing defense. I'd like to suggest to you that not only is ECRM not an IT problem, but if properly managed, properly governed, it can turn into a business enabler. While there are many ways I would contend in which ECRM can become a business enabler, in this episode I'm going to focus on three specific items. Number one, ECRM can create competitive advantage for your organization. Number two, ECRM is critical to successful merger and acquisition activity, M&A activity in this day and age. And number three, ECRM can help you meet your ESG requirements. We'll dive into that a little bit further. As always, before we dive in, let's take stock of where we are in the overall journey. We're in episode number 20 today, as I mentioned a moment ago, out of a total of approximately 30 episodes which I plan to record. I may make some changes along the way, deletes or adds or some slight tweaks. In the meantime, as a reminder, all of the episodes will be posted to this YouTube channel. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to subscribe so that you may be notified of any updates or new materials we may post. Secondarily, please feel free to share this information with any friends or colleagues whom you believe may benefit from it. And last but not least, use the YouTube channel as a place to provide feedback or raise any questions on which you'd like some additional follow-up. As I mentioned before, not only is ECRM not an IT problem, but properly managed, it can also become a business enabler. It can help your business grow. First, let's talk about creating clear competitive advantage. Non-traditional disruptive competitors have entered into healthcare. PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, calls them the technology invaders. And I don't have all of them indicated here, but you can recognize some of the icons and logos that appear on this slide. So you might stand back and say, gee, why does Apple, Google, why do these folks want to get involved? Well, who doesn't want to get involved in a $6 trillion healthcare industry? That, by the way, is the projection from CMS that the size of the industry will be by the year 2027. So the question is, are you making investments to keep up with these technology invaders? They have deep pockets, they have global experience in privacy, security, and risk management, and certainly very, very strong cyber teams. How will you compete with them? As a quick example, while the logo is not shown, Uber arguably falls into this category of a technology invader. They proactively built out their program. In fact, we assisted them with that several years ago. Not only did they proactively build out a program, they called OCR. They took their efforts, their program, their plans to the Office for Civil Rights for its review before they actually launched their program to provide rides to individuals who needed to be delivered to their healthcare providers. Most healthcare organizations wait for OCR to call them. And when that happens, by the way, it's not usually a good call. Let's switch over. The logos are not shown, but let's talk about traditional competitors. Whether you're a large integrated delivery network, a law firm serving health systems or EDNs, a revenue cycle management company, a health IT company, data analytics, you name it, any other company in the healthcare ecosystem or supply chain, proactively establishing, implementing, and maturing your ECRM program will strengthen your market position. Remember my story an episode or two ago about a large health system whose competitor lay in wait and upon announcement to the media of their third major breach within a 9-month period of time, the competitor launched a media relations campaign that basically said, why would you entrust your health to this organization that can't even take care of your health information? Be assured, a strong, proactive, progressive enterprise cyber risk management program can assist you in creating competitive advantage. Let's talk about M&A activities for a moment. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, being bad at ECRM is not a good thing. While not an example of healthcare, you may think back and recall a few years ago when Horizon bought Yahoo. About $350 million in shareholder value was shaved off the purchase price due to a number of previous Yahoo breaches. As another example, I worked with a large Southwest health system that acquired a smaller 6-hospital system, only to learn after the transaction had closed that there was an open OCR investigation underway. Coincidentally, at the heart of the issue was the failure to conduct a comprehensive enterprise-wide risk analysis and develop an accompanying risk management plan. The upshot was huge distraction, huge remediation costs, all of which were unbudgeted. And then there's a somewhat interesting example of Peach State Health Management. In 2015, the VA reported a data breach to OCR that involved their telehealth services program, which was managed by a company called Authenidate Holding Company. In 2016, OCR initiated an investigation into Authenidate, as they commonly do upon the reporting of a breach. Later that year, Authenidate and Peach State Clinical Lab entered into a reverse merger, whereby Authenidate acquired Peach State. As the upshot, OCR opened another compliance review into Peach State. So there's Peach State just doing their business, and all of a sudden, as a result of M&A activity, they're now in the crosshairs of the Office for Civil Rights. Here are a couple of important questions to ask. Would a rigorous cyber due diligence review cause your organization to lose any value in an M&A activity? How would you stand up to that kind of scrutiny? Switching things around a little bit, suppose you're an acquirer. Are you capable of conducting a rigorous cyber due diligence review of a potential acquisition that would either allow you or enable you to identify gaps and clashes and issues and problems, and or use that information in negotiating a different, better acquisition price for you? Having a strong ECRM program in place is critical to a successful merger or acquisition activity, whether you're a buyer or a seller. As the last example of ECRM becoming a business enabler, let's discuss how ECRM may help meet ESG requirements. As a quick reminder, ESG stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. No, it's not about leaving a carbon footprint. I'm talking about a social obligation to protect individuals' privacy and security. As you may recall, ESG refers to a company's ethics, actions, investments in the area of environmental, social, and governance. The social part of ESG typically refers to how the company treats customers, employees, internal, external stakeholders, indirect third parties, etc. It's often associated with topics such as diversity and inclusion, working conditions, impact on local communities, as well as health and safety. Aha! The spirit of social is to make sure the organization has strong principles that take measures to ensure that its actions are, at minimum, not causing harm to others, directly or indirectly, and ideally making a positive impact. Therefore, I would suggest to you, it's not hard to think about assuring the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, you may recall the bedrock of our work, of all the healthcare data and systems for which we're responsible, as meeting an important social responsibility. To do so means establishing, implementing, and maturing an ECRM program. And I might add, While there are many organizations in healthcare that are not publicly traded and therefore not subject to the scrutiny of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC indeed is focusing a great deal of energy on cyber risk disclosures and ESG. As a result, I don't think it's a stretch to connect the dots between cyber risk management and ESG. Therefore, I would suggest you think about ECRM as facilitating and being part of your ESG initiative. To sum it up, ECRM can be a business enabler by, among other things, 1, creating competitive advantage, 2, facilitating successful M&A activity, and 3, assisting you in meeting ESG responsibilities. In my book, and in this episode's references and resources, you may explore this topic further. Having a strong, comprehensive, and proactive ECRM program can create value for all stakeholders that enables business, whether it be your investors, your employees, your customers, your credit rating agencies, insurers, vendors, etc. So what we covered in this episode was the concept that ECRM is not only not an IT problem, we can actually leverage it in a proactive way to become a business enabler. As always, I'm ending this session with a set of suggested actions as well as references and resources that I would encourage you to explore while the material is still fresh in your mind. In the next episode, I will discuss the concept of treating ECRM as a transformational program in your organization. To do so, I will focus on 3 critical core capabilities that all organizations must develop and hone in order to build and implement and mature their enterprise cyber risk management program. These include capabilities around people, around process, and around technology. But hey, what's new? What transformational program does not include those 3 core capabilities? Until then, subscribe to the YouTube channel, be well, be secure, and I'll see you in the next episode.